Hello, and welcome to the Green Island Podcast. I'm your host, Bernard Sheehan, along with my co-host and co-author of Hard Border, James Sheehan. James, thanks for joining today.
No, thanks for having me. That's great. Yep.
We're going to jump right in with some of the stuff. We've got a lot to cover. There's a lot going on in Ireland and kind of like around the world, but we've been anxiously waiting for Conor McGregor and his story with his next fight. So, it looks like that's a little bit shaky right now. Might be off, but I think you've got the latest.
Yeah, so I just kind of went onto YouTube before this podcast just to kind of bum up on what's going on with Conor, particularly and what the experts in the space are saying. So, yeah, it's looking pretty dodgy. I mean, every day's different. I think he canceled his kind of press conference where his opponent was due to fly over to Dublin about 10 days ago, and it's kind of been back and forth, and it looks good. But from the insiders, it looks like they're going out to other people to try to see if they can keep the fight going, most likely to replace Conor. Because the guy, his opponent was all ready to go to Dublin and got canceled. So if there's any problems, it seems like it's on Conor McGregor's side. So now they kind of said it was back and forth, and he kind of dropped some stuff over the last 10 days, but it looks like actively they're going out to kind of see if they can salvage the fight with a new fighter.
Yeah.
Apparently there's slim pickings because a lot of fights just happened over the last kind of 2 or 3 UFCs. So big fights, so there's not much there. And yeah, I guess we'll wait and see what happens, but that would be kind of a bummer because I kind of was going more or less go out that night. It's around my birthday. The wife gave me the hall pass to go out just to drink, nothing
Right.
more, but at least kind of go enjoy the festivities. And it looks like there's kind of a wrench in that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things that we were talking about, like a little bit offline, was that if it's on his end, it's most likely some kind of injury. That he hurt himself training. He's not as young as he used to be. Doesn't necessarily want to give details about where that injury is, knowing that's going to be a target for the fight. His opponent's just going to, if it's something like, on his side or whatever, the opponent's just going to beat that side up as much as he possibly can. So, odds are that's probably it. And he's still trying to see if he can, get better in time for the fight. But there's really not that much time left. I mean, it's really only a couple of weeks.
If
Yeah.
even, exactly, and apparently this guy, his opponent is no one to mess with because I think he's been training nonstop for this fight while Conor's been enjoying the limelight. So I'm kind of almost switching my money to the guy who's going to get it for me. And I don't think that's Conor right now.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's the reality. So we'll watch and see if it happens. I mean, quite honestly, it might just be better for him to call it and move into running for president of Ireland because it definitely needs it. But so we'll come back to it. Last time we did our podcast, we talked about Irish golf, and we really kind of teed that up with Rory McIlroy and his marriage being on the rocks, where he just kind of announced, "Hey, I'm getting divorced here," and served his wife at their home in Jupiter, Florida, Natch, and. It seems that he's turned around on that. Maybe they're going to reconcile here. So interesting kind of turn of events. Obviously, this isn't the type of stuff we would normally talk about, but when you see kind of these high profile guys just saying, "Okay, I'm done with the wife," especially him after he abruptly dumped his fiance before getting together with the wife, it's you kind of have to comment on it.
Yeah, I think so, especially then to reverse course. He probably just didn't get a good press, especially if there's a little love triangle in there, or maybe he listened to our podcast and we came to the conclusion is the wife is hotter than the girl right now.
She is way
know,
hotter, but that happens a
yeah.
lot where guys will trade down. I mean, that does happen, but I from what folks are saying kind of online or speculating is that he ran the numbers, and it's easy to get rid of a fiance. You're basically losing the cost of the ring and the venue. It's a whole other thing when you're married and you've got a kid. That is going to be like 50-50 and ongoing payments for the rest of his life, or at least for the next.
Even with the prenup, I heard there's a prenup.
Well,
But who
see,
knows, right?
so that's the thing too, and that was brought up. Okay, yeah, he's got a prenup, but he was married in Ireland in a Dare Castle, and now he's serving her in Florida. So which laws apply? Because prenups do not fly in Ireland, and that's where they got married.
Bingo.
So it's messy.
The plot thickens, huh?
Yep.
Interesting.
So you went for the home wedding, and that may have cost you a couple $100 million, dollars. So, well,
Yeah, it was like $1 million wedding, spared no expense, right? Dare manner, But yeah, the prenup, wow, sticky situation. So yeah, because she didn't even get like a lawyer. She was kind of, I think in this situation, you wait to be served 20 days or something, and then you get a lawyer for the other side. He got Tiger Woods' lawyer, but apparently they've done a few dry runs of this and have already crunched the numbers. And, but let's see. She didn't seem to flinch, She's got him where she wants him. But especially if there's a love triangle in there, I would say that that's more complications, because there's quite a bit of stuff on the YouTube and the internet about the good old love triangle with Rory,
Yeah. And maybe
That
just
can't
did the
help.
calculation. It's cheaper to keep her, as they say. But
Yes.
if he was going to be paying out, he's worth maybe like 200 million right now, and probably going to be worth a lot more over the next 20 years. And sorry, she's going to get that. So,
Interesting. But to even turn around, I mean, do you even take them back? I mean, how does that work?
That's a thing. I mean, yeah. What does that look like? I'm sure. Oh, honey, I did the math, and I think we should stay together. I think that's really going to make for a nice, loving home.
As she's going out for her date night with her new boyfriend, it's like, oh, I'm not sure. I got a date now, and I'm on Tinder, and things are really spicing up for me.
Yep. And like you say, she's an attractive lady, so I'm sure she's got no problems. Kind of reeling in the next dude.
Book, she's already writing the book. Everything's already in motion.
Yep. So
good old Rory.
Good
not
Rory.
Doing all the calculations.
The thing about it is, though, and just as a side note, I feel like these guys who are in sports that are in individual sports, kind of like golf and tennis, versus like team sports, they seem to have like a very, they seem more selfish. Do you know what I mean? To kind of cut through it versus, somebody who's like on a football team. It's just like you've got 60 people there, and they're all kind of leaning on each other, and you kind of can't really adopt that selfish mentality. But like in something like golf, you almost have to, right? To win, you've got to be able to be like, it's all about me all the time. And that's what makes those folks winners. But, that kind of did not serve him in this instance.
No, but as I said in like the last podcast we had about them, I mean, he's not the greatest personality from even the youngest age. I guess he was probably too good, too young, and was revered, but he was never like the greatest personality on the course from a younger start. Even when he started winning all the titles, when he first started doing PGA. So I think, no one changes their stripes, but that is interesting. He was able to go back, and I don't know how you go back. I mean, I don't. That'll be interesting to just even watch that dynamic.
Right? Yeah. Give it 9 months, and then it's just going to dissolve. And it's like, she's moved to a new house or something. It's just not going to
get him
work.
out of the spotlight. I would say the spotlight's all on the other girl and him. Stuff like that. That's they don't want that paparazzi or something like that. So. It'll be good to watch, nonetheless. So good old Rory messing up again. We'll watch. So stay with the hottie, though.
Exactly. Oh my God. So we'll just move on. Just kind of a little side note, in Dublin, there was a fire at the Shelburne Hotel today as we talk about this. And, we've got Arthur Fonzarelli on the spot there, Henry Winkler. He would just checked in the night before and was talking to reporters about everything going on in the fire. So first of all, it's the Shelburne. So that's probably, is that the best hotel like in Dublin, would you say?
Pretty much for the most part. It had a big revamp in like 2008 when the Celtic Tiger was in full blast. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty much the best hotel. So it's good the Fonz can afford those top rates in Dublin, you
sure.
know?
Yeah, maybe he was brought over for something and they were picking up the tab, but
Probably.
but still, it doesn't seem like it was something. It's not like it's a church or something where they need to burn it to the ground. They're just going to have a little fire up on like the sixth floor or whatever it was, and just create a little bit of excitement, get people out into the streets and away from the fire. But still, it's it's something of a well-known hotel anyway, right?
For sure. JFK stayed there when he visited Ireland, and that was kind of its, name to fame or whatnot, claim to fame. But yeah, it's very well. It's a nice one. It's just at the corner of St. Stephen's Green. It's a good spot, in
Yep.
all fairness. That's where Bill Clinton stays when he comes, and then he meets Bono, and they go across the street and have a good song up or sing song, and that's his usual modus operandi. I saw them when I was in that hotel one time. Just on a Thursday, popped in with my brother to have a pint, and there they go.
Yep.
So to speak.
Yep.
So it's a good spot. It's well known, but I'm just wondering where the refugees, like, up there cooking their noodles in the kettles or something like that. Because apparently, like New York, 30% of all their hotels are taken up by the
They
refugees or the
sure are.
illegals.
Yep.
So I'm assuming that Ireland is no different in that regard.
Yeah, whether they're in hotels or being put up in like these makeshift camps, I mean, that's probably something we need to talk about all together on a separate podcast here, because they're just continuing to go in to these various communities now. Here's an open
Right?
field. We're going to go in and we're going to be putting up these kind of camps or these makeshift buildings for these people to be housed in. And now twist, there's an English company that's helping them do it. So that's not making anybody happy, but that's something let's look into and maybe talk about next time or one of these times going forward, because that seems to be riling people up. It's not going away anytime soon. But having said that, they just had the European elections in Ireland. I'm just going to switch over to that,
Yeah, that'd
and
be great.
they had it all over Europe, of course. But the Irish elections were kind of a dud from the standpoint of real change and kind of kicking out these bastards who are making these
No,
decisions. And so it's
never.
like, it's a new boss, same as the old boss there. It's just like, I'm looking at, I mean, okay, there's only, out of 720 European Parliament seats, Ireland gets all of 14. So it's not like it's going to be changing anything kind of Europe wide. But at the same point, so here's the results. I know numbers don't sound really good when you're talking into a microphone, but as it stands right now, the independents have 3 whole seats, so they gained 2. Sinn Féin has 3 seats, and they also gained 2. Fine Gael lost 2 seats, and Fianna Fáil gained 1 seat. So it's just kind of like, okay, so maybe Fine Gael's been punished a little bit, but that's it. And Sinn Féin, when we talk about the referendum a couple of weeks ago, Sinn Féin was all for it as much as anybody else, and they gained seats out of this. So it's like, what are you guys doing? Have you not learned anything? You're just going, I mean, talk about the Uniparty. You're just going along with them and keeping them to do things just as they have been doing them, just as normal.
As predicted, right? That's what I told you. They're sheep.
Yeah.
That's why Ireland's the ultimate peachy grounds,
Yeah.
because you can't change them even if they want to get changed. And it's the easiest way for like these ideas to permeate society is put it in the Irish society. I mean, That's why they can get away with all this crap, because they know the votes really ain't going to change it. Again, maybe it goes between two parties, but they're a uniparty, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
That's just to deceive other people. And Sinn Féin is right up in there too. It's not the Sinn Féin of old, of kind of liberating Northern Ireland from the English or whatever they used to do. It's more like they're a far left leaning organization as well. They're kind of equivalent to the Green Party, which are like the environmentalists.
Yeah.
They're kind of the crazy ones, but yet they have no real backbone. Do you know what I mean? It's just another party with another face, and they have left wing ideas.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy that people are kind of voting for them, but they think, oh, votes for Sinn Féin because it's a change from the other two parties, i.e., Fianna Gael, Fianna Fáil, and that's what they do. Or I'll vote the Greens. It's like,
they're all the same.
So the independents are really much more almost the right wing, if they are even.
Yeah.
I mean, they're almost middle of the road, and that's the independents. There's no right wing party in Ireland.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Greens. They lost one seat, so okay, they were a little bit punished. They were cut in half from 2 down to 1, but it's just kind of like you're just rearranging the seats on the Titanic. I mean, no one's going to learn any lessons with these results. I mean, the last time with the referendum, it seemed like there was an opportunity for people to learn lessons, but it really needed to be kind of stamped home with this, and it wasn't. So now It's back, same old, back to the same.
Same old, short memory, same old, and they'll probably run that referendum again in another year and get it through.
Yep.
This would be on the family changing the Constitution. I mean, that's what they do in Ireland. It's like the same old playbook. It's like, oh, we don't get in anything if we don't get these referendums across the line, i.e., abortion, or this one is not calling a mom and dad, or some rubbish like that. They'll just go again in another year when people have forgotten. They've kind of drilled it home to them. They're never stopping. I mean, they're the true essence of communists. They'll just never stop. They'll just keep going. And if you don't vote this way, well, it'll come up again in 2 years' time, because nothing really changes here. We control everything, and that's just the way you got to live with it. It's crazy. But you can see it. Like, you can throw a bunch of refugees all over their towns and everywhere, sucking up all the resources, not getting them in the hospital, and they still don't vote.
Yep.
And it's rubbish.
And bringing the violence, a little bit of the ultra violence is showing up too. And that's going across the board. And, obviously you always have that, but I mean, it's just reaching new levels, and no one is making any, connecting the dots. They're like, oh, well, it's not you, we're not complaining about you who just showed up yesterday from Somalia for some reason. Why don't you stay in Somalia and fix your own country? Why are you coming here? But
that's right.
But that's the thing.
They're coming there because Ireland's handing out all these nice fringe benefits for them,
Yep.
Terrific, just like America.
Yep.
Come on, get a free cell phone, place to live, free food, a room in the Shelburne Hotel for you to light on fire if you want. Come on across,
Spending money, and then you're able to go shopping that very day.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, because I think Europe-wide, though, they did pretty good. At least it seems like the Italians are picking up steam, and the French kind of got nailed.
Yeah.
They're even kind of doing a French election now because they got smashed so much. It's kind of a calculated ploy to kind of have an election right now to see if Macron can maintain power before he loses any more. But maybe it wasn't a sign for Ireland, but it was a sign for the big countries that actually matter. Ireland just does what it's told. But the big countries could have problems, such as I think Germany went right as much a good bit, and so did Italy, and so did France.
And so did France. Yep.
That's good.
And I'm looking at France right now. They called the National Rally Party. They gained 12 seats, so that's like significant. And they've got 30 seats now, and everybody else is down like 13, 9, 6. 5, that sort of thing. But those guys have 30 out of the gate, for France. And obviously France and Germany are Europe, I mean, I think Italy is kind of third place maybe, but
yes.
Germany and France are really it, maybe more so with Germany. But at the same time, I mean, I think those countries did make a statement, where you got, these, like you say, center right, or maybe they're not as right as you would have here in the States, but still they gained seats and they made some statements there.
Yeah, and I think it was over more the green energy. Like Germany, for instance, invested like $1 trillion in solar and wind, and now they're begging off Putin to get money that they're about to go to war with. Or for sorry, I mean for oil. Like they're just they need oil, and they're just so I think they're kind of these people have kind of figured out that they're going against, from my understanding, or at least this is how they're painting it. It's a rebuke of the green agenda on particularly Germany, but I think
Interesting.
Italy shouldn't be overlooked because it seems like they're just raw, kind of like we're switching, where we're not going with this EU agenda anymore. And even if they are third, they're allowed third with the new prime minister. And, let's see what happens because we all know the French. Well, it seems like the French are turning into the real fighters. Who knows about the Germans,
Right.
But at least it's something for whatever it's worth. But is it going to change anything? Absolutely not, in my opinion.
Well, it's a big ship. Maybe it just takes it's going to turn slowly, but at least from, like you said, larger Europe, it definitely did make a turn there. And, as far as Germany goes and their issues with oil, I hate to say it, these people, they didn't listen to Trump. He told them, don't stop your nuclear program. Then you're going to be relying on, Russia 100%. And this was before Ukraine. And they just sat there and smirked like, oh, let's not listen to this stupid American. He called it
Yep.
right there. He's just like, you people are idiots. Stay with nuclear. There's zero emissions from nuclear. It's clean. You got it down. If anything, you should be building more nuclear plants, but
100%.
nope, nope. And now look at it. It's a freaking mess.
Yep.
But of course, that's the U.S. too. We've got our own problems over here, and it's going to be a crazy summer as we get into these conventions. I mean, there's going to be a debate here in the next couple of days between Biden, if he shows up, they're going to obviously get him kind of good and geared up and ready to go, and Trump. So it'll be interesting to kind of see that, especially now you got those dynamics are changing every day with weird and wild stuff from Trump being convicted of, like quote unquote felonies and now, Hunter Biden having the same thing. And, it just continues to roll on. So it's like you called earlier, this was the year of elections and it is not disappointing.
No, it's going crazy, absolutely crazy. And like, I mean, when did you have like the freedom leaders of the free world going into debate, and one's asking like, how much cocaine have you actually had before this debate? I mean, we all know you're juiced up on something,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so crazy, and it's just like, and is he doing it from a cell? Like they're just, it's notched up a good bit,
It
and
is.
that's why. Yeah, it will lead on to the American one, and then the American one will lead on to something else. But whether the powers that be are going to let this stuff happen, I mean, Trump getting back in, let's see, But Biden seems like he's in a bad position right now, just on the whole health. He can't even do anything. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't need. He'll have to be very, very drugged up to get through that debate and even be cognizant and be able to reply.
And does he stay the nominee? That's the thing too, because it's almost like this debate is going to be a kind of an audition for him to show, are you able to do the job against Trump? Because otherwise, we're going to dump you and get somebody else in here. So it'll be, who knows? And then who do they put in? Because if it's Kamala Harris, she is despised, but yet the big part of their constituency is that black female voting bloc. And if they step over Kamala and put in, some slick white guy, middle-aged white guy out of California, they still show up to the polls. So, and even before that, just to take a step back, they've got, what do you call it? Their British elections are just around the corner on the 4th of July. And it looks like the Tories are just going to get stomped. And that's going to change everything. So it's,
Yeah. And again, they're kind of a uniparty over there too. I know they're kind of the Tories are the conservative, but they're just rubbish. After Boris, he kind of let the lid off of that one during COVID, that they're
yeah.
kind of quite similar. on that regard. But yeah, we'll see what happens because Kamala, she's not going to win. But I mean, yeah, passing over the black girl when they're kind of like that is their most loyal
Yep.
constituency.
Yep.
That's a tough one for good old Bucket Joe or Gavin Newsom. But apparently, like I heard about a poll today that like Joe is still of all these people, he's still the highest favorite. I mean, to like most liked, even though he's a complete scumbag. It's crazy. Like they
Yeah.
really don't have any role models over on the Democrat side. Not to say much on the Republican either, but there's a few more. Kamala's horrible,
Yeah,
crazy.
but it'll be interesting to see because he's not going to step down. He's worked his whole life for the last 50, 60 years to be president. He's there now. You're going to have to pry it from his cold, dead hands. And the only
Yeah,
way to really remove somebody is for them to want to do it and decide, yes, I'll do it. And if, taking out his son doesn't do it, his last remaining son that he's so proud of, nothing's going to change. So, I mean,
yes.
but there's a lot of moving parts still. It's weird and wacky out there.
It is. It's going to be quite the watch. So a lot to report on, and we'll see what happens. I
Yep.
mean, just circling back, it's a shame Conor McGregor, but maybe that fight night is going to be the debate instead. So plenty to discuss.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully Ireland can get its head out of its ass for like the
Don't
general
count on that.
elections.
There's
I'm not counting on it. I'm just hoping. But
yeah,
but
they just lost a lost civilization.
it is. It is. All right, Jay. Thanks for taking the time.
Wonderful. Thanks, Bernie.
We'll talk about the next thing kind of coming up. Maybe we'll dive back into immigration or something else this next time. But again, just keep on watching weird, wacky stuff this summer.
Sounds great.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye bye.